After over 15 years, dozens of people telling me I need to see it, and morbid curiosity, I finally decided to watch Silent Hill. Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Nick from the Lost River Drive-In, and tonight I wanted to give you guys a review of Silent Hill. Well, also Silent Hill Revelation, I guess. I'm just going to kind of group it together, talk about these movies because I have finally watched them. Now, the impetus for this video was my buddy Mark, Saturn Video. He sent me the Scream Factory Collector's Edition of Silent Hill on Blu-ray a couple months back. And he said, I love this movie. The game is one of my favorite games I've ever played. I need you to watch this. I need you to review it and give me your thoughts. And I said, absolutely, man. And I hadn't yet. And I was thinking the other day on my way home from work, I need to watch this movie. I want to give this movie a chance. It's October. I've been asked to do it, and I was gifted such an awesome release of the movie. So I went ahead, I sat down and I watched this the other night, and I've got a lot to say. Now, let me preface by saying a big reason why I had never watched Silent Hill is because I didn't play any of the video games. I know it was a very popular video game series. I actually remember when I was younger, everybody saying they were terrifying games. Like, oh, you don't want to play this game in the dark. You don't want to play this game by yourself. I was very familiar with that video game franchise, but I had no idea what it was. I had no idea. So when the movie came out, I was just kind of like, am I going to be lost though? Like, I don't have an affinity for this source material. So it kind of came and went. I remember it. I was a teenager and I never got around to watching either one of them. And so here I am in 2023 finally watching them. So Silent Hill stars Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, Laurie Holden, and Jodelle Ferland. And it basically tells the story of Rose, played by Radha Mitchell, having an adopted daughter, Sharon, that keeps drawing things and saying things about this place called Silent Hill. And she looks into it. She finds out it's an abandoned town in West Virginia. So against her husband's wishes, Sean Bean, she takes their daughter Sharon there to kind of figure out the answers as to why she keeps talking about this place, why this place is always on her, subconscious. And once she gets there, essentially enters a different dimension. And Sharon is gone, and the entire movie is Radha Mitchell, Rose, trying to figure out where her daughter is, what the story behind Silent Hill is, and why she was drawn there. Why was it always on her mind? That's pretty much the story of Silent Hill. Now, it's a lot more complex than that. There's a lot that they play with when it comes to themes, metaphors, and really just deep emotional stuff. It's very heavy. So let's get the negatives out of the way first, because I feel like that is important. And I'm going to talk about Revelation at the end here. I won't talk about it much, but I will touch on Revelation. I'm not making a separate video for that movie, so that should tell you probably where I'm going with that movie. But for Silent Hill, it is a 2006 movie. It was very ambitious. It was a very ambitious endeavor, and you can tell. And at times, they clearly didn't have the entire budget that they needed. There's some great stuff in here, but there are some things that could have used a couple more $1 million. But I'm not going to hold that against the movie. They just didn't have the budget they needed to realize this world. And once you watch this movie, you'll know what I mean. Fully realize this world, because most of it is realized quite well. And at times, for me, I was confused. As somebody that didn't have knowledge of the source material, that didn't really understand anything, I was left with questions after this movie, to which I reached out to Mark because I wanted some answers, because there are some things that kind of make you go, but what does that mean? Or where did this take place? And that's kind of how I was with this movie. Aside from that, I don't have any negatives, so I'll just get right into my positives. The acting. I think Radha Mitchell's great in this movie, like great. And to me, she's always reminded me of like Charlize Theron. Like, I don't know, like she just always has. And then you got Laurie Holden, who's great in this movie. And she's kind of always reminded me like vaguely of Katy Perry. I don't know. It's just like these faces that are like, you have their look, this face, like you just remind me of these people. I think Sean Bean's good. He's not in the movie a ton, but I think he's good in the movie. But Jodelle Ferland is great. She's absolutely great in this movie as Sharon. And I think that especially as the movie goes on and we learn more and there's kind of more depth there, it's really, really interesting. I think that the world of Silent Hill, this other dimension, it's so cool. I always remembered playing Dead by Daylight and not understanding a thing about Pyramid Head, but I thought he was so cool. And seeing him on screen here, although it's little, he's not overutilized in this movie. It's really powerful when he comes on screen. When you hear the air raid sirens and the darkness comes, I loved it. I ate that stuff up. How the world changes. The dark dimension essentially takes over, and it's like a daily thing. Although, is there any sense of time really in that dimension? Who's to say? I'm sure some of you that played the games know those answers, but that's kind of how I take it just as a first-time viewer of the movie. And when the darkness comes, some of the stuff in this movie, I can say I was never scared. But some of the stuff in this movie, you're just kind of like, what the hell is that? Whether it's these faceless nurses or these, this creepy faceless armless thing that shoots out like toxic sludge from its mouth. Like, there's just disturbing imagery in this movie that's going to stick with you. I know it's sticking with me, and I know it's making me just think. I have so many questions. I have so much that I want to see. Now, I'm going to get into a little bit of spoilers here if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, so you should be warned, but I feel like I'm doing this movie a disservice if I do not talk about some spoilers. So basically, what happened was Alessa was ostracized by this order of people, this group of people, and she was a child born out of wedlock, and they were and then also became a victim of sexual assault by a janitor, and I believe she got pregnant. I don't know. I feel like that was murky, but I think she did. Tell me if I'm wrong, Mark, or anybody that's played the games, or understood the movie a little. I've still only watched it one time, but she couldn't die when she was burned. She was strong enough to withstand that. They could not burn her to death. So with the strength she had left, she split her essence into two, a dark Alessa and an innocent Alessa. The innocent Alessa is Sharon, and the dark Alessa is the one that has its grip on Silent Hill and has all these people trapped in this like purgatory dimension where she comes out like every now and then as the darkness, manifests as the darkness, especially in the form of Pyramid Head, which is freaking awesome. That imagery is just so cool, and is trying to exact revenge. But the innocent Alessa was being called back to Silent Hill because the dark Alessa, two halves make a whole. It's a bloodlust really, but it's the right thing. Like she deserves that. She earned that. Like, they should have to pay for what they did to her. Now, Christoph Gans, I have to say, like, he did everything he could with the money that he had. It needed a little bit more, I think, but like 90% of this world is so beautifully realized, so gorgeous to look at. The ash falling, the walls peeling apart, the landscape just changing when the darkness comes. I love that. That is visually so awesome to look at, specifically when Pyramid Head materializes out of it. That is so, so cool to me. There's so many like deep themes throughout this movie. It is rich with like emotional stuff that I really think helps pull this movie, and you don't even realize that it's over 2 hours long. You're just immersed in this world. It is such a great world to live in, to look at, to listen to. It is so rich. It's so good. So as somebody that didn't even play the video games, I was just in awe of what I was seeing. I genuinely think the acting, the look of the film, the sound design, I love the score. I absolutely love the score so much. It is so good. The disturbing imagery, the story being told here, the world that you are in is incredible. Like, it's so, so good. Minor gripes. This movie is incredible. So I could not wait to delve into more of it. So I had to watch Revelation the next night. I had been warned ahead of time that it wasn't going to be very good. From anybody that even liked the first one, they were like, it's not good. And it's not. And the reasons it's not good, fairly cut and dry. It makes Heather, Sharon, Alessa, whatever you want to call her, just so much lesser, so much less important, so much more of a damsel in distress with just little to no depth anymore. And it's boring for the first half hour. A movie that's a half hour shorter, which is clearly telling you it's not going to tell as rich of a story as the first movie, it's only got an hour worth of actual things happening. There wasn't as much money. So the world is nowhere near as realized. The CG effects are much, I mean, they're not even good most of the time. The world is so much smaller. The scope is so much smaller. It it turns Heather slash Sharon into just an uninteresting character that is just like her whole motivation is just I want to go get my dad and blah blah blah. Like I guess I get that, but you just don't like her anymore. And there's so many people in this movie that are just there to die that you don't get to know, and some of them that you do just aren't very good. And they make Pyramid Head like an actualized demon, no longer an extension really of Alessa. Like they kind of blur that line where it's just like, no, he's like a protector of Alessa. Well, that's not how it's supposed to be. Is it cool to see him decapitate another demon? Well, yeah. I mean, because, yeah, like that's cool. But it's just so beneath what the first movie was. Everything about Revelation it just pales in comparison to the first movie. Less interesting, less exciting. Now, as somebody who has not played the games, I'm kind of in on this world though. After that first movie, like I'm really intrigued. Like I want to see more, and I'm happy to know that Return to Silent Hill has been filmed and by the original director of the first movie, and it's gonna kind of serve as a soft reboot again to the cinematic world of Silent Hill. And I'm in. Like I'm really looking forward to it. I'm in. If I could sum this up for you guys, I think that Silent Hill from 2006 is just a genuinely amazing experience that will make you think, that will make you question. I was asking questions to Mark afterward. Like, what? Why are they still in Silent Hill? What does this ending mean? What was this? What did this? I mean, it's just, it makes you question things in a good way. It makes you want to go back and watch it. And I can't wait to rewatch it again. It's just so rich with material. And then Silent Hill Revelation is just a soulless cash grab that is just so much lesser. It's almost not even worth talking about. It's really not. I've seen travesties. It's not an absolute cinematic travesty, but it's just not good. I mean, it's not good, and I don't think I'll ever find myself rewatching it, ever. But the first one is a great movie, an absolutely great movie, and I implore you guys, to seek this movie out and watch it if you haven't already. And like I said, as somebody that had no knowledge of the source material, none, I was able to get immersed in this world, to be affected by this world, care about these characters, care about their plight, and just watch what was going to unfold in front of me. And I'm so glad that I did. Revelation, we could do without. We don't speak. But Return to Silent Hill definitely already has a lot going for it, even with just the original director back. And the girl that played Eleanor in Jigsaw, the redhead that was smoking. She's the lead. Sign me up. I'm here. But I want to know what you guys think of Silent Hill.